Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ashley and today we're going to be doing the 2019 finale for my Pan Those Discontinued Eyeshadows project. So I have to say I really enjoyed doing this project, and it is one that I'm going to start back up again in 2020. So I am going to go ahead and just do my finale at this point. We're almost to the end of December, so I'm going to give myself a little bit of time to play with the few new things that are new to my collection, and then starting in January, probably mid-January, since I liked doing these updates mid-month like this, I will go ahead and select a new round of shadows to start working on. And I think even though I really enjoyed having this exclusively my limited edition and discontinued palettes, I am going to go ahead and roll in all of my eyeshadow palettes. I'm a little on the fence. I'm not sure if I'm going to do my single shadows or not, so we'll kind of see. I don't know if I'm going to include like my ColourPop Super Shock shadows or how I'm going to structure that exactly. I'm going to kind of mull it over the next couple of weeks, but I will certainly let you know in my intro video. But I did want to let you know where everybody landed as far as what we already have drawn. So the first one that I'm going to update you on is the one that's been now in the project the longest, and that comes from my Bare Minerals The Hidden Treasure palette. This shadow that I was working on, let's see, this is an extremely reflective palette, was this one here, Nude Beach, and as you may be able to see, I did hit pan in it. It took an additional 9 uses before I hit pan. As I told you guys in the last update video, I was really only using this on my inner corner and brow bone, which is why it took so long to get to that pan, but it is so satisfying when you see that pan reflecting back at you. It's a great feeling. Spoiler alert, I won't have that feeling again this year. So the next shadow that has been with me the second longest comes from my BH Cosmetics, the original It's My Ray Ray palette. I kind of fell off. So in my last update, I had a lot of shades that could work together, and I had less so this time. So that's why we have no additional pan in any of my other shades. And Sunset is not really an exception. The reason I say that is because it was so similar to, a lot of what I had already been using, and I was really kind of burnt out on that very warm eyeshadow look where I was taking a very warm kind of terracotta orangey red color in the crease, and then I was taking a nice deep brown in the outer corner and then using something goldish along the lid. I'd been doing that for months and months and months, and I was kind of over it. So Sunset is this one right here. We don't have any pan in it. I did use it an additional 5 times, but I, as I said, was kind of over that sort of look. I'd been doing it for too long, but it does have a very slight dip to it. So as far as everything that was rolled in last time, let's go ahead and start with my Marc Jacobs The Wild One palette. I love this palette so much. So the shade that I pulled in is this shade right here. They don't have names, so I just went by numbers. So this is the third one in the palette. It is a beautiful kind of iridescent, shiny, metallic lavender type of color that I really enjoyed using all over the lid. I used it a total of 7 times during the last part of the month before this update, and the one that I would pair with it the most comes from my Tarte Cosmetics. This is the Be a Mermaid and Make Waves palette. The shade that I randomly drew was Sunset, which, I'm sorry, not Sunset, Sure Thing, which is this kind of shade right here. Again, trying not to blind the heck out of you. So that's what I would put all through my crease, and then I would put number 3 all over the center part of the lid. And then I would typically take a shade like this one right here. This one is Shipwreck, but really it was just kind of a deeper sort of plummy color all over the outer V, and I really liked the way that that looked. So again, not Sunset, why do I keep saying that? Sure Thing I used 11 times since the last update. So that leaves us with 2 more to discuss. The first one comes from this palette right here. This is my Lustrous shadow palette from Makeup Forever. This was released a couple of holidays ago. And the one that I drew, come here, you, was this golden shade right here. So this is what I was using with Sunset when I would wear that. That's what I would wear in conjunction with that particular shade. And I only wore that look, well, I wore that shade 7 times since the last update. And then finally, the one that I, I was so scared about, comes from my Violet Voss and Nicole Consilio palette. I randomly selected the shade right here called Pingy. It is a bright metallic blue. I used it more than I expected to. So I did wear it 3 times, which isn't a lot, I understand, but it's not a shade that I can really get away with wearing to work a ton. So what I did was I took kind of a, this is gonna sound weird, but a fluffier dome brush, if that makes sense, and I just buffed it into the outer V and then put something over the top. Typically, it was the 3rd shade in the Marc Jacobs palette, because that kind of iridescent, shiny lavender shade kind of went along with it pretty well. But I have to say, this was a difficult shade to work with, not simply because of the color, but also the formula. This formula, at least in that particular shade, was very, very dimethicone heavy. And so it was very, very difficult to pick it up on my brush. Now, I absolutely realized that it was the wrong type of brush for a shadow formula like this, but there was no way I was going to be able to just pack it all over the entirety of the lid using my finger or a denser flat brush or something like that. It just wasn't what was going to happen. So I made the best out of it, but it really didn't lend itself well to the way that I needed to use it, if that makes sense at all. But for me, I do feel like 3 uses actually was pretty good, because when I drew that, I didn't think I was going to get any use out of it at all. I did also take and use it as a lower lash line eyeliner when I wore those looks, and it worked pretty well for that also. So if I were to have gotten kind of a different mix of colors that kind of lent itself a little bit more to that very vibrant royal blue, then I would have worn it more in that way, but it just didn't happen. But yeah, so that is my final update for this year's Pan Those Discontinued eyeshadows, and I'm really, really excited to get started on next year's as well. I feel like I made so much progress in my eyeshadows because of this type of project. And it's interesting because I remember watching a video a while back from someone. I can't think now, but if I can find it, I will make sure to link it up in the cards. But it was talking about makeup usage in general, right? So it was the benefits of project panning versus just wearing makeup every single day. And the crux of it was, if you are working on a pan that palette or you are just wearing eyeshadow every single day, who uses more eyeshadow? And the reality is you both use the same. You just are able to see progress in a different way when it's in a project. So I really like that this project really focused my usage. I used probably the same amount of eyeshadow that I would have used throughout the year ordinarily, but it was still very exciting to have it focused in a way that I could actually see the progress in my eyeshadows, because that's not something that typically happens. All of my eyeshadows, for the most part, look pretty much brand new because I have so many and I can rotate through them so frequently. They all look pretty much brand new. So to be able to really have a way of focusing myself in a specific area, I think really, really worked well for me, much more so than a Pan That palette. I've done 2 Pan That palettes so far, and spoiler alert, neither one of them have gone incredibly well. So I will definitely be picking this up again next year, and I'm very excited to be watching everybody else's finales for the year because I think this has been such a fun project to watch. There are tons and tons of other folks out there on YouTube that are doing some variation of this project. It was originally created by Alexi. She is a phenomenal panner and someone that I really kind of aspire to being as creative and as productive as she is. But there have been a ton of other people doing this project this year, and I have full expectations that it will be just as popular next year. So if you have been doing this project, how has your progress been going, and are you planning on doing it in 2020? I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that you're having an amazing day, and I will see you next time. Bye.